welcome to the Ride Boundless podcast. I am in Fort Lauderdale with Alejandro and Sahid. How you gentlemen doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
this place
excited
is
to be here.
Thank you, man. I'm excited you guys are here. We're gonna get into some good stuff. Florida's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, especially with the drivers.
The drivers are a different crazy compared to like California has crazy drivers, but this is like a different crazy. Like
the humidity has everyone angry.
The humidity, but you know what? It's like a vacation town, random weirdness. We went through a parking lot, and there's just a guy standing in the middle of the parking lot, looking at his phone, just kind of, and he's in front of us. So we're like, move, and he just doesn't care, and he's just like, I'm on vacation. It's like everybody has a vacation mentality here, but then everybody's rushing to get to places. It's weird, and there's not a lot of cars. See, LA has a lot of crazy drivers because we have a lot of cars and we have a lot of traffic, and it's just everywhere. Here, you'll have open roads, and then randomly, you'll just have little sections of traffic. You turn on one street, and there's like traffic for like 1 mile, and then you break free, and then you go into another section, and there's just traffic. It's just random. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. I mean, with us down here, like, you don't really realize how bad we are until you go and travel and go somewhere else. So like when I travel, I go to Chicago, New York, California, I see how bad things are down here compared to other places. So I see it when I travel, and then when people come down here, they're like, yo, like, what is going on here?
This is crazy.
That's like the one thing a lot of people say is like that. So
the closer you are to the mic.
That's the one thing that people always have to say when they come down here is like one of the first things is like the fucking traffic. Like it's disgusting how people drive down here. It's insane. I mean,
do you think it's because of all the immigration? Because Florida's like a different country. You got
everything in here.
You got everything except for people that speak English. Like there's people that don't speak English here. I remember I was in Miami. I went to a shoe store and I was like, "Yo, how much are these prices?" The guy was like, "No, hablo inglés." I was like, "What?" Like,
yeah, there's parts of Miami where it's just like there's no one there that speaks English.
Oh,
yeah. You feel like you're in Cuba or Colombia or something like that. No one speaks English.
If you go to Hialeah, you'll see you go down a straight road where it's nothing but businesses in Spanish. The signs are all in Spanish. You see nothing in English. Like you really feel like you're in an entirely different country out there.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, I mean, either within Florida too, you see a lot of differences. Like when you go up to like Ocala, Orlando, and then Jacksonville, you see a difference within just the state alone. Like the people down here, and you start migrating to different parts of Florida, and it is completely different. The people, the way people live.
Especially when you go north, it's like a whole different, like hillbillies and alligator fighters and people.
That's what I love about down
shit.
here, though. That diversity. A lot of people say that, they like.
But isn't the whole United States based off diversity?
I mean, it really is.
The main cities.
Exactly, the main cities. But I think also just that down here, it's just such a. I mean, like New York too. It's just like I guess you can say like a clusterfuck of like just all these different cultures. But I feel like it's just even more different down here, because there's just also a different vibe down here. Like people are generally more happy, and like you said, people have like that vacation vibe. So,
but isn't that poisonous to a certain extent? Because sometimes when you live like in a vacation town, you kind of like fall into like doing nothing. You just want to like, fuck it, let's just go to the beach every morning.
I get that. But it's also like
I don't know if that's the case. You guys live here, like
I think it's a good escape. From like if you're down here working, you spend like maybe your whole day stressed out, and then because you're in a vacation town, like after that stressful day of work, you come. You go to a bar, you go get a drink, there's like live music, people are dancing. It's a nice like relief. You immediately have that.
Yeah, the nightlife and the party life is pretty booming. Yeah.
I mean, for me, for example, I don't partake in a lot of the things that everybody does down here. Like Miami for the spring break.
And what meaning? Like the parties?
Like, going down to South Beach, Miami Beach, the nightlife, the clubs.
And just real quick, we're in Fort Lauderdale.
We're in Pompano Beach.
Pompano Beach.
So
How
we're
far is that
about
from Miami?
15 minutes from Fort Lauderdale and about 45 minutes from Miami.
Okay. With traffic or no traffic?
Without traffic. With traffic, you're looking at about an hour and 15.
That's still not bad.
No, not bad. 30 minutes on a motorcycle.
Yeah. What do you ride real quick before we get into
I have a CBR 600, 2004.
And how's riding out here in Florida?
It has its goods and its bads. The weather doesn't, help when it's summertime. We have a lot of humidity, and I like to gear up the jacket, the helmet, all the good stuff. And in the summertime, it's impossible, and especially when you come to the lights, you know, and you're parked there waiting for the light to turn green, and the heat. You have all this stuff on. You're sweating. So you don't enjoy it as much with the humidity.
And it rains randomly, right?
It does. So you'll wake up, you'll look at the weather app, you'll see it'll be sunny all day. You'll go ride, and then at 2:00 you get poured on completely unexpected. So you don't really know. So yeah, it rains here randomly.
It rains randomly, and is it true if you have insurance, you don't need a helmet, and if you don't have insurance, you need a helmet?
So I'm not sure. I don't have insurance. On the motorcycle, I have insurance for myself.
Shoot, that's good that we have this going on.
I don't have insurance for the motorcycle. I have it for myself in case something happens while I ride. But here, like, there's no legal requirements for you to wear a helmet. So
that's so fucking
not
crazy,
at all,
man.
yeah.
I mean, there's a few states that are like that, but that's so crazy.
But you know what? Most of the guys that don't are usually the Harley chopper guys. They don't wear the helmets. You know, us super sport ninja bikes, we usually ride, you know, with helmets.
Yeah, but the Harley guys ain't doing 160,
nah,
120. You know, they're fucking.
They're just
just drinking and riding. You know, they're just drunk and riding.
Yeah, I don't know too much about bikes but from my understanding though, like even also if you're not going, you know, at those crazy speeds, you have a little crash, you bump your head, you're also fucked.
Well, here's the thing: you can crash. I've ridden motorcycles for over 20 years. I ride a lot. You can crash your motorcycle. You could drop your motorcycle at like 2 miles an hour. You're gonna fuck up your leg. You're gonna fuck up your arm. You're gonna fuck up your leg. You have to pick up the spike. You can get burned from the pipe. Like anything you do on the bike is pretty dangerous.
Have you had any severe falls?
No.
Knock on wood.
There's no wood here.
How long have you been riding for?
Over 20 years.
Nice.
Over 20 years.
And nothing serious.
No.
Nope. See, that proves my point in the terms of motorcycles are not dangerous. It's the people that ride.
I say this on a lot of podcasts when this conversation comes up, and everybody that's heard this podcast, this is gonna be episode 51. Mm-hmm. Every time I say this, it even goes higher and higher and higher. But like 99% of 90% of motorcycle accidents is rider error. It really is. It's rider error. I know 10% of accidents. I know 3 accidents that it was not their fault. Completely not their fault. It was just so fucking random. It was so, you know, it sucked that it happened and they had no control of it. But I only know 3 accidents like that. I know 20 plus accidents that it's just like, I just saw one in Bakersfield. My buddy, Bulletproof Welder, just posted. He posted an intersection in Bakersfield. And you see the light turning red, beep. And you see the cars coming, already started going to the intersection. And you see a bike coming at 70, 80 miles an hour, trying to take a red light once the car's already gone. Those are the biggest accidents, you know, unfortunately. Yeah, there is people that don't know the limitation of their bike, and it's kind of their fault, but not their fault, you know, because sometimes there's just too much power. But if you ride responsible, if you wear the right gear, if you take courses, if you take classes, you have better odds. You have a lot better odds, you know. And if I always tell people, ride aggressive, ride fucking aggressive. I mean, if you got to kick somebody's door or hit somebody's window, you ride aggressive as fuck, but know your limit. You have to know your limit. Know the limit of the bike, you know. I was bringing this up as an example. Every car, I don't care if it's a Corolla or a Lambo, every car can hit 100 miles an hour. No problem. You know, that's easy. But the problem is the Lambo has suspension to withstand 100 miles. If they hit a bump, it can handle it. Yeah. If it needs to brake, it'll brake. If it needs to maneuver, it will maneuver. A Dodge Caravan that's going at 100 miles an hour from 1989 goes 100, finally gets to the 100 mark, and something happens and they need to stop, bro, that's where all your accidents happen. So that happens with bikes as well. The problem is that when you get young men, you know, with a lot of testosterone, and they're excited, you know, and they got this power between their legs. They want more and more and more and more. They push that limit, and that's the thing. I would say, like, don't push your fucking limit. So,
and I see that problem down here a lot with, 16, 17, 18-year-olds that want to get into the bike life and ride and this, and they jump on 1000s with no experience.
Well, yeah.
And then they go 120, 130 on US
No
1
experience.
with cars coming in and out. It's like you're asking for it. So I know a lot of people that work their way up, 250, the 500, the 6, and they don't even go past 600 because they feel that 600 is enough.
They're like, dude, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. Or you have the other knuckleheads that will go and they'll spend $5,000, $10,000 on a motorcycle. Well, guess what? When you buy a $10,000 motorcycle or a $5,000 motorcycle, you better have $3,000 to buy gear. Mm-hmm. You better have the money to buy a jacket, a helmet, and gloves, knee pads, boots, this, that. But instead, people buy $10,000. They get all their savings. They buy a fucking bike. And then in states like this, that you don't need to wear a helmet, they're not wearing a helmet. They're wearing like gloves from AutoZone, cloth fucking gloves. They're wearing their fucking Converse because it looks cool. It's got a little white line right there. And then they eat shit. And guess what? Like, they eat shit. And some people don't even rock insurance. Like, how the fuck do you not have insurance?
I was just talking to someone literally an hour ago about this, how I had two different friends that crashed their bikes within a week of getting it. And it was just guys who were just excited to get a bike. And then, 5-6 days later, they don't have a bike and they never like really tried to learn anything about it. It's just irresponsibility. What you were just saying about like, buying that $10,000 bike literally happened to one of my friends.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And then insurance is it's not a stupid thing, but people have stupid luck where you'll have insurance for 10 years and nothing happens, and then you get a renewal. That one fucking month you miss it, what happens? You get in a fucking accident. And that shit always happens, But that's the stuff. You see, when I was younger, one of my first jobs was I was a lifeguard. And the main thing that I learned about being a lifeguard, it wasn't to save lives. That's the worst case scenario, is to save a life. And I saved 3 people. I saved 2 girls and 1 adult, 2 kids and 1 adult. But it was more prevention. The reason the lifeguard's saying, hey, rip currents, get out. Swim back and forth up and down the pool before you go back there. Hey, because you're trying to prevent that. Hey, don't run, not because you're gonna fall, but you might fall. And that's a liability. So it really stuck in there that it's like prevention. And the only way you can prevent is like experience or I started off with dirt bikes. Experience, dirt bikes, in the dirt a lot. I did eat shit a few times in the dirt, just never on the street.
Yeah, same here. I started with dirt bikes myself.
Which is important, but like, fucking take the courses. It's an investment. You want to have fun, you have to invest. You're not going to go skydiving without fucking classes. You're not going to go skydiving without doing a couple tandem jumps and then taking like a 6-week course. And you need the basics, but people don't do that. They just want to jump on the bike and they want to live that 1 down 5 up life. And but I'm here visiting family, and then I'm also here for my listeners. How would you guys introduce yourselves, and what do you do out here?
I'm Alejandro. I've worked with Sahid a few years ago. Is how we met. We used to do valet together.
Nice,
driving some nice cars out there. And right now
I'm gonna ask questions about that, but let's go. I gotta ask questions.
That's the fun part.
So right now I'm actually going to school doing aviation.
Nice.
So I'm a pilot.
Oh, that's
so awesome. Like all that safety stuff that you were just talking about relays perfectly into like how we do things, because the prevention is absolutely like always the thing, So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Working on getting my commercial license so I can start, flying. And I've also been heavily into crypto for a few years.
Just to get the listeners ready, we're going to talk a lot of crypto.
Sahid and I fell out of touch for a while, but crypto is really what brought us back together. It started.
That's true.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I want to hear that story.
It's really cool. It's like that's really like one of my biggest focuses right now, apart from school. And aviation. And aviation, yeah, exactly.
And then let me get Sahid to introduce himself, and then we'll get into this crypto talk.
All right. Well, my name's Sahid Abdala. I recently graduated from FAU. I'm a finance major.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice.
And currently I work for a funding company, MJ Capital Funding. I'm an account representative. And I pretty much look for people that are, wanting to invest some money, earn some interest, have their money work for them. So I do that, and that generates me passive income, which right now I'm currently working on building my crypto portfolio. I did stocks last year for about 6 to 8 months. Humbly speaking, it went very well, great returns, took a break. And then I got into crypto, kind of went down the rabbit hole, and now I'm just building my portfolio. And then I got back in touch with Alejandro because of that, because of the interest. Found out that, he was really into it, and he had a lot of experience because he's been into the space for like 3-4 years. And now, we're building a community. We have our group. We're trying to push it, with Instagram, with YouTube, and just trying to build our community, teach people, and get everybody on board with, what's going to happen. Moving forward.
And you guys built a pretty good community. You guys already have group meetings. Like your last meeting was last week.
Sunday. So we pretty much, Alejandro, he kind of had the chat already kind of established, just a handful of people, his friends and stuff. And then when he told me about it, there was a lot of people that been wanting to learn and DM me on Instagram. So I talked to Alejandro. I was like, hey, I think we could really do something with this group. I'm going to start directing everybody that wants to learn to the group. And we went from, 10, 12 people to now we have like 80 plus. And we hold Zoom conference calls right now on Sundays. Last Sunday, we went through basics, just kind of teaching everybody the very basics of exchanges, wallets, so on and so forth. And now we're moving forward. Everybody's learning, getting, into it. And so we're going to be going into more complex, more complicated things because it's a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah. So Sahid's told me a little bit about these meetings, and he told me you're like talking to you, it gets deep. Like, it gets fucking deep.
It's hard not to get deep too.
And I'm sure it's so intricate.
Yeah.
It's so intricate and so informative. What are you guys going to break down levels of how you guys are going to start doing meetings? Like, is there going to be like, all right, this weekend it's what is cryptocurrency?
Yeah, that's
next weekend is going to be where to invest in crypto, or and let's just be clear, you guys are not financial advisors.
No, not at all.
You guys are not telling people what to do. Everything you're saying is just based off personal knowledge, and it's just you guys are referencing whatever you're going to reference.
Yeah.
So you do this at your own risk, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
exactly. At your own risk. But let's get into it. What is crypto? What do you know about it? What's happening? How would you start off?
Crypto it's very easy to understand. It's really just like traditional money. It's just digital. And that's the most basic form of it. Then it starts branching off into other things. There's thousands of different cryptocurrencies. A lot of people just know Bitcoin, maybe they know Ethereum, but there's really thousands of different cryptocurrencies, and they all have like their different uses.
And now they know Doge.
And everybody knows Doge,
Who's Doge?
And Doge is
Elon Musk's brand. No.
Doge, my nemesis.
Yeah, that one fucked everybody in the community.
Oh yeah,
everybody that's been following crypto. Like I was in it in 2017. Doge really fucking broke our heart, bro.
Yeah.
So that's essentially why we even started this group, is to kind of direct people into the right investments, because Doge, not having
wasn't
legitimate
I telling you
purpose.
When you visited? And I was telling you Doge is some bullshit. Wasn't I telling you that?
Yeah. You were.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see it. Yeah, it's bullshit.
But it's amazing the power of influence.
Oh yeah, it's just the power of memes. That's what Doge is really. It's like why it's just the hype. It's so overhyped. It's the same thing you see with like AMC, the AMC hype, and the GameStop hype. So it's stuff that you got to be very careful with, and that's something that like we're constantly trying to tell people in our group. Lead them the right way. Of course, they do their own research. I always promote that as well, because you can't just take people's word for it. And we're not telling people go buy this and that. It's just telling them like what exists out there and like what they can put their money into. That's more secure than really putting your money into something like Dogecoin, which is just like going to the casino.
No, it's well, it's supposed. Can you tell me what? Okay, everybody knows Dogecoin.
Right.
Everybody knows you're supposed to look at a market cap, right?
Yeah.
You look at a coin or a token, which you can tell me the difference. But you look at a market cap, and usually like Bitcoin is what, like 21 million or
21
billion?
million. Well, that's 21 million coins.
Coins. They have
exist.
21.
The supply.
The supply. So you want to look at something that has not a lot of supply,
Right.
and the problem that we believe, based on the information that I think we all agree on, is the problem with Doge is there's unlimited amounts of it. So there's no real tangible value. But why has it become popular? Why did it get to fucking 67 cents or 72?
It went to 72 cents. Yeah.
How did an unlimited supply coin token, which you're gonna have to tell me the difference, get that high? And why is it, bro? It like, you know, why do I and why do you and why does Sahid tell our friends like, yo, it's not gonna get to a fucking dollar, cash out? But we also said that when it was 6 cents. And if they would have listened to us then, they would have been fucked. And I have a stubborn friend that's only invested in one thing in his life, and it was Doge. And he's like, nope, it's going to the moon. To the moon. I'm like, bro, you don't understand the cryptocurrency. And when it went to 13 cents, I'm like, bro, it's not going to go to 20. And when it got to 20, he's just like, ha, 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 you're stupid, Robert. You know, how much money have you made on cryptocurrency? And it went all the way to 70 plus cents. What happened there? How does that happen when you have unlimited coins? I mean, any of you.
So, I mean,
because this is the question everybody's asking.
Right. So this is based on market cap, right? So the reason why Doge is even in the top like 10 is because of the market cap that it holds. It's in like the 40 billions or something like that.
Somewhere around that
So it's in the 30 to 40 range in market cap. And there's a lot of projects out here, legitimate projects with real technology that are in the $2-3 billion. So their price or value is not as high as Doge. The thing with Doge is that it's like, I kind of explain it as if me, you, Alejandro, and another friend, we got together, around the table. We're billionaires. We each got $10-15 billion to invest into something. And it's like, hey, Doge is a meme. It's a joke, but let's just invest in it. Let's pump it up. People are going to jump on board as they see the price increase. Yeah. And then, you know what?
But how do you organize that so well? Because it started with Elon Musk. Or are we saying, would you predict that Elon Musk was part of this? Because the rumor that I read of why Elon Musk got involved with this is, and this is what I heard, his kids, his smart, intelligent kids, bought Dogecoin as kids, as a goof. Like, hey, Dad, look, it's cute. It looks like our dog. Like it has this. And Elon Musk is like, that's cool. You know what? Let me help my kids out, just randomly.
Right.
And he tweeted like, hey, what is Dogecoin? Whatever the fucking thing is. And it boosted up, and that started it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he got involved in the Tesla and fuck Bitcoin, and now Bitcoin's cool. Whatever. So what you're saying is like a great mastermind plan of the billionaires investing, pumping it up. Like, what was the breakdown? Like how do you think it all happened?
I mean, I'm not as much of a conspiracy theorist in a way, if you can call it that, as you can.
Yeah, because that's almost like a conspiracy theory, kind of.
Yes and no, because there is that kind of manipulation. There's that kind of manipulation for sure that happens in cryptocurrency. It doesn't take, because it's still a small market. It doesn't take that much money realistically to move prices, to move the market. What happened with Doge? Honestly and truly, I think Elon Musk got into it because of it being a meme. If you'd followed him on Twitter before like all of this happened with cryptocurrency, the guy is just like making jokes, always posting like different memes and stuff like that. He's just that kind of guy. He just likes
goofy.
He's a goofy guy. He's in it for the laughs. And Doge, I mean, it's the meme in cryptocurrency. The whole reason it was originally created was just some guy was just like, oh, this would be funny. I mean, the Doge meme was like a meme before crypto, and then he just fucking stupid little dog.
No, and I'll give you an update. So today, actually, it's funny that we're talking about this today. He actually tweeted about Shiba today.
I didn't know about that.
So he tweeted about Shiba today.
Yes.
And it pumped the price up.
Really?
Oh, really?
So he's starting to see that he has
everybody's checking their phones right now that's listening to this. What?
He's essentially manipulating. He's seeing what he's capable of doing. And like I love Elon Musk, SpaceX. He's great, very smart guy.
Brain, everything.
Neuralink, the Boring Company, all that good stuff. But us as the crypto community, we don't like him.
Oh, cool.
And the reason being is because he has this power of manipulating and making people do things
misleading,
and it's not good. It's not good for it, because what I see happening is people follow this guy, they invest their money into something, and 2-3 weeks, or let's say a month go by, the project goes to zero, goes to shit. People lose their money, and now they have this bad taste in their mouth with crypto. They leave, and they never really found the time to do the right research. And that's why we emphasize, do your own research and due diligence. Don't just go by what somebody tells you, what you see on Twitter, because something just went up 200% in price. It doesn't really mean that it's a legitimate longevity project that's going to be here around forever.
It's like a buddy of ours, the Jamark.
Mm-hmm.
He's a buddy of us. We started talking to him about little crypto, and he mentioned to us that the way he basically does things, like he heard about another cryptocurrency called SafeMoon, which I completely advise anybody.
He has SafeMoon.
Be
careful what you say.
I advise anybody who's touching that to get away from it.
Podcast, man. Just turn off his mic.
I'll kick you off the podcast.
What? What is your problem with SafeMoon?
I mean, so I've been in crypto since 2017, late 2017.
So am I.
And so anywhere between late 2017 to the beginning of 2018 I was a complete novice. I didn't know anything. I was just throwing my money at the wall. Yeah. Especially like with all the hype, you see how much money is being made and you get excited and you just throw your money at the wall and hope something sticks. So that's basically what I was doing at that time.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people do, is they just throw their money at the wall and they see something hyped up and they hope to make some money off of it. And sure, you can make money off of I think SafeMoon to be a scam. You can make money off of a scam. It's not an improbability. But when it's already hyped up, I feel like it's too late. And so my problem with SafeMoon is that because I've been in crypto for several years, I've seen the rise and fall of many different projects that look legitimate, and a lot of scams as well. It just, like I always say this about any scam, if it looks like a scam, it smells like a scam, it has to be a scam. What I see with SafeMoon is, and like you can almost say the same thing about Doge, but Doge has an entirely different story to it, and we can get into that later. But SafeMoon, it just kind of popped out of nowhere. They had an aggressive marketing campaign. Mm-hmm. They were paying people on Twitter, like celebrities or just big names in crypto, to promote their token. And, you suddenly see the price start spiking and spiking and spiking, going crazy, right? Since we're talking about market cap, one of the things that goes hand in hand with market cap is the supply. And when I see a supply, like SafeMoon is in the trillions, I think.
I think it's past trillions.
Yeah.
It's whatever the next category
is. It's absolutely something insane. And if you compare that to Bitcoin is 21 million, right. Nowhere near that.
But if you compare it to Doge,
that's also, it's infinite. But the thing about SafeMoon is like, and the thing about retail investors is they see something, they don't know about market cap. They look at a price and they think, oh, this looks ridiculously cheap. Yeah. And if it goes to $1, I'm going to become a millionaire. So... Well,
the people that I talk to, it's if it goes to a penny.
Yeah.
If it goes to half a penny.
Whatever. But it's like, I'm talking about, it being in the ninth decimal place, going to a penny is insane.
Yeah. So that's essentially what I was telling you, that goes hand in hand with the market cap. So for example, for Shiba to go to a cent or a dollar, it has to be in the trillions and trillions of dollars for that to happen. And the crypto market cap right now is at 1.34 when I checked this morning. So the fact that people assume or think that that's a possibility, it's kind of wrong when you actually do the math.
Yeah.
When you actually do the math, for it to go to a certain price, it just needs...
I don't want to defend one thing, and I just want to be clear. Yeah. In my mentality, there's different investors, okay? There is a shitcoin investment where it's like, it's a lottery. Yeah. Like, fuck it. I'm going to spend, I'll buy, for my birthday, I'll buy $100 worth of scratchers.
Yeah.
Usually I break even, whatever. Or sometimes I'll lose it. Then there's I go to the casino, and there I have more of a little strategy. And then there's I have stocks. Yeah. I'm a strong believer. I was preaching to him about Crow. I'm a big fan of Crow. I love Crow. I think I was one of the first people. I got in when it was very cheap to get the cards and stuff.
Yeah.
And I love Crow. But SafeMoon is one of those, fuck it. There's thousands of shitty ones.
Yeah.
This one's the most popular. If it gets to blah blah blah, I'll cash out. Like that's just the I'm not saying everybody should get in there. I'm saying if you have $500 to $1,000 that you don't care if you lose, put it there. If you want to invest a little bit longer, then go with something like with Crow, or go with something that you could stake or invest, or you can pull a loan out, or whatever the case is. My question for you guys would be, and we kind of went over this yesterday, is what kind of due diligence do you guys recommend? How would you recommend somebody to buy a coin and know it's the right one? What kind of research? What are the steps?
So, I mean, the biggest similarity between the way Sahid and I do our investing is that we're just straight up value investors. We look at projects that have long-term potential, like they're building something serious. I know, like he talks about Algorand all the time.
Yes, sir. Algorand.
Yeah, so
we got to get Silvio on the podcast. He's the creator of Algorand. We got to get him on.
Oh,
here.
we'll get him on. After he hears this, we'll get him on.
I mean, so yeah, it's so we just look at like projects that have a lot of long-term potential, and I mean,
SafeMoon backed up by a lot of companies.
Exactly.
We look at like tokenomics, so longevity.
What's
what they're doing.
tokenomics?
It's a token economics. Is what it stands
token
for.
economics.
So
what
it
is
just
this?
means
A magazine?
It's essentially just like
a website.
No, it's just token economics is just the way that the economics of a token works. So like I was saying earlier, there are thousands of different cryptocurrencies, and a lot of them are set up in very different ways. The tokenomics of Bitcoin, just as an example, is very simple. It's a lot like gold. There's a limited supply, 21 million. There will never be more, right? And it's slowly mined by the miners. And
now, when it's mined by the miners, I just learned this. The way it's not being mined and created out of air. It's what's it doing? It's every transaction. It's verifying. How do you mine? Because that's another thing that fucks me up.
So what miners do is they're essentially the backbone of the whole network. They help all the transactions become confirmed, and as a result of them, helping the network run, because that's really what they're doing, and they're storing all the information from the blockchain, because you have to have all of the transaction history, just like banks do, all the transaction history, all the data they're storing, and then helping confirm all the transactions and get the entire network running. As a reward, they get Bitcoin. They also get a little cut of transaction fees, because every time you send a Bitcoin, or same with a lot of cryptos, there's a transaction fee, and that's also part of the tokenomics, is the transaction fees, how much crypto the miners get. So that's basically what they're doing. And then the way they get Bitcoin is it's a little more complicated. You have to use a computer, and the computer has to have a certain amount of computing power, and it tries to solve a kind of mathematical equation,
algorithms.
right? And then once you match up and you get the right number, then you get that Bitcoin, and you also get some of those transaction fees. And then that's essentially how Bitcoin is mined.
That's awesome, because I thought mining was like you're gonna set up a computer and it's mining out of air. So it's every transaction that's being done throughout the world through networks of people that needs to be processed through something.
Exactly, and those are the computers.
Those are the computers that people can buy now, right? People can buy supercomputers.
So theoretically, any single person can join the Bitcoin network. But now, because there's so many people in it, the computing power becomes higher, so there's the levels just keep increasing. And this is something like the person who created Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, mysterious figure, he thought this whole thing out. And this is also part of the tokenomics, the more people joining the network, the harder it gets to get some Bitcoin. So you have to get more computing power, which is why you see really big facilities with thousands of miners. I mean, these are serious warehouses. These are serious operations, and they have thousands of these things, and they're constantly mining Bitcoin. And every time a new miner rig, because they have these specialized miners, comes out, they just toss out the old ones, they get the new ones, because there's always this competition of trying to have the most mining power to be able to get Bitcoin.
And the computers that process that is one thing, and the AC and cooling systems to control this is another thing. But the internet connection, right? Don't you need like a fucking crazy Iron Man Avengers internet, or it's just regular internet?
Well, I think
does that matter?
The beautiful thing about Bitcoin, just crypto in general, is like, I also don't fully understand the logistics of all that goes into Bitcoin mining because I've never mined myself. But I think a basic internet connection is really all you would need.
But to run, imagine, like if I hook up 10 computers to this internet router, it's going to slow down.
You definitely need a solid internet connection to be able to broadcast, like to receive, because all the computers in the network, they have to communicate with each other. So they're all constantly sending each other information about, oh, this transaction just happened, so let me send it to this computer. And that's how they communicate, and they get everything all set up, right? So yeah, you definitely would need a solid internet connection. And
motorcycle.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We can hear it.
And that's something solid that I know that they have figured out. But those are like some serious like mining operations. But I mean, I also know about, if some YouTubers that have, a small little shed in their backyard, and they're mining Bitcoin or they're mining Litecoin or Ethereum. So it doesn't really take
much,
like a crazy amount. If you maybe have, your gigabit internet, the best internet you can get from, whatever ISP you have, you should be fine. It's just really the mining rigs, because they can be very expensive. Just for one alone, you're spending maybe $5,000 to $10,000. So
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the whole mining. What's the due diligence? How do you guys educate people? Because you showed me some. You told me like you go to Twitter, you look at this, you look at that. What's the process? How do you do that?
So I like to first, you look at the project, right? You get a general overview, what it is, what it's doing. You look at supply, you look at market cap, and then you go into seeing, who created this project. You go into their Twitter accounts, see what they're doing, if they're active. A lot of them have Telegram groups, so they're active on anybody could literally join Telegram group. The creator's there. He's always putting information on what he's doing, what's going on. And just that step right there can literally separate projects from something being legit and something like being an issue. And I say this because sometimes I go into Twitter pages. It was formed, a month or 2 weeks ago. The creator doesn't have any following, and those are red flags that are being thrown out there. And then I also look into the Twitter account of the company, what they're doing. Like I said, if they're active, tweeting, showing stuff, and that's just kind of general stuff. And then you go into, like I said, tokenomics, and you just look at, what is it that they're doing.
My bad. Tokenomics is a website.
No.
Oh, no, that's the whole.
It's kind of like breaking down the project or the cryptocurrency in terms of who's the creator, what is it that they're doing, the risks that are involved.
You guys should make a website that you automatically do that for everybody.
The longevity.
I don't know. I should be publishing this episode.
There are resources available for that, and that's like one of the things that we always push to the people in our chat. We give them plenty of resources so they can do that due diligence.
And there's people in our group that have been in the space for quite some time, and they're just now learning about these websites that they can go and do so much research. And the one I showed you, Masari.io. That is a great website. You go into the project, and then there's, I'll give you the Twitter, I'll give you the Telegram group if they have it, a Reddit community. So these are all resources that you can use to essentially, understand if this is a legit project or not.
So it's like Coin Market Cap or something?
Yeah. So if I could break down tokenomics.
Yeah, please.
It would basically be, so when I look at a cryptocurrency project, it's like I look at the team. That's always very important. As someone who's been in crypto for a while, I can immediately recognize some names, maybe some venture capital firms who are invested in some of these projects. So those off, immediately. If it looks good, awesome. Then I'll dive deeper into it. So like I was saying about tokenomics with the supply, that has to do with it. How much supply there is, how steadily the supply is being added into the circulating supply. There's the total supply and there's the circulating supply.
Watch the table.
There's the total supply, there's the circulating supply. And you have to look at how much of that is being added into the supply. So like with Bitcoin, it's a gradual, I think the last Bitcoin mined shouldn't be for like another 100 years. So that's kind of stuff that you look at. And you look at the supply, so you can figure out like maybe what the prices are going to look like. There's also something called token burns, which is ingrained into the code where some of the circulating supply is removed.
And is that legit?
It is legit, yeah.
Because SafeMoon did that a few times.
SafeMoon did that a few times, but there are some legitimate projects that have done that. One of the biggest being Binance. So it's it's the biggest cryptocurrency exchange in the world right now, and they have a coin, their own crypto exchange
BNB.
coin, BNB. So they do periodic token burns, I think quarterly, if I'm not mistaken.
And that's legit. Like that can't come back based on the code being
right.
burnt.
So the way the token burns work is they essentially just send tokens to an address that nobody has access to, and they cannot be recovered, because you can't just delete them, because the way that the code works is like they exist, but you can send them somewhere so that they'll never be recovered ever again. And that's essentially what token burns are, and you're just removing them from the circulating supply. You also look at something called vesting schedules, which is like at the very beginning, investors come in, they put their money into a project. Well, you have to make sure that they're not just going to dump their tokens on the market, and it leaves everybody completely wrecked.
And that means they would sell theirs and cash out.
So some of these projects have like
so if I buy a token and then I sell it, it just goes back into the pot.
Right, exactly.
Like a normal. Okay, got it.
So if somebody has millions of dollars or something, you want to make sure they're not just going to dump all those millions immediately. So there's projects like Algorand as well that have good vesting schedules where it's like over several years they get bit by bit, like up certain percentages, and that's the other stuff that you have to look at. Another like big important factor of Bitcoin's tokenomics, and its market cycle goes hand in hand with this. So Bitcoin has something called halvings, which is why today we're seeing, record breaking prices with Bitcoin. It's, from the very beginning, it was written in Bitcoin's code where every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin that's being mined would be cut in half. So
every 4 years.
Right. Every 4 years.
So the longer it goes, the less it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. So
Bitcoin's going to always be the godfather.
Right. That's essentially what everybody believes. There's also talk about maybe Ethereum overpowering Bitcoin, and something happening like they call the flippening, where it'll flip Bitcoin and become the biggest. But I think Bitcoin absolutely is always going to be here to stay.
Is there and a lot of this I know the answer, but I just just for the listeners.
Yeah.
Is there what's the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum?
Mm-hmm.
So
great question.
Is there a difference?
Yeah, there is. I'll touch upon that.
I had a wizard tell me about it yesterday.
So the difference between it is the blockchains, right?
What's a blockchain?
So a blockchain is a network where everything runs on.
So the blockchain is where everybody's computers that has access.
Right.
Correct. It's running the network.
That's really what the network is.
So
that's what the blockchain is.
Yeah.
So the blockchain is a network.
It's a network.
Blockchain.
It's a network that validates transactions.
Very simply put, if you want to think of actual blocks and then a chain linking each single block, it's every single block just has all the transaction history, and then once that block is filled up, it goes into the next block, and then they all just link together, and it just becomes this chain of all the transaction history.
It becomes like this big block chain.
Blockchain, exactly. So you can always go back to 2009 when Bitcoin was first created, and you can look at the first transactions.
And this is why it's so secure.
Yeah. So when I get my grandfather, older people are like, oh, how can it be safe? And it's because of that, because the network is now worldwide. It's running on so many computers, and for you to literally tamper with it, you would have to hack every single computer in the network at the same time around the entire world.
Well, more than 50% of it, yeah.
More than 50%. So
which is impossible.
Is impossible. So that's why it's so safe. So then let's go back to the differences between, Bitcoin and Ethereum. So the blockchains, right? Now the difference between the blockchains is that one is for transactional use. So I could only send and receive Bitcoin. And then you go into Ethereum, And Ethereum, their blockchain, you're able to have smart contracts. And with smart contracts, you're able to build decentralized applications on it, such as like Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange where you go and buy coins and tokens. And there's
like PancakeSwap.
PancakeSwap,
Which
yeah,
Sahid
but that's
uses.
built.
You can
That's but that's built on the Binance Smart Chain.
Right.
Right.
That's
a
different.
That's
one.
built. Oh, that's built. Okay. All right. So then, okay. So Bitcoin is a blockchain.
It's a blockchain.
For transactions. Ethereum is
For building apps.
A blockchain for building
So then
apps.
there's two categories basically. There's transactional coins or tokens, and then there's app. So Binance is what?
Binance.
Is
So
another app.
Well,
base?
Binance Smart Chain is another blockchain. It was created
So
by
it's-
Binance.
So it's Bitcoin's competitor, kind of.
You could call it Ethereum's competitor, because a Bitcoin and Ethereum, you can't even call them competitors, because Bitcoin is, the OG, and it's simply just transactional.
But you could do business with Ethereum and Binance without Bitcoin, right?
Right.
Okay. So yeah, they're just. I'm just trying to figure out categories to like.
So, for example, like Algorand is its own blockchain.
Okay.
So it's unique.
So would you say these blockchains are like banks? Or what would you compare it? I'm just trying to get the categories.
I
'Cause
wouldn't-
If we could break this down.
So what we're looking at, we're in the very elementary stages of blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So now, that's where we're like, we think of them as separate. But the idea is to move into a future where you won't be able to tell the difference. You won't be able to tell that maybe you're sending a coin to like another person and you don't realize that you're interacting from one blockchain to another, because currently you have to, go through different steps and ladders and tunnels to be able to interact between different blockchains, because they're written in different forms of code. They can't really talk to each other. So eventually, like the internet, everything is just code. But now, us using applications and the internet, you can't really tell what's going on in the background. So
At all, yeah.
Exactly. You don't know what's happening. So, hopefully within the next 10 years, we'll see, blockchain being used universally, and you won't be able to tell the difference between, you using Binance Smart Chain or maybe using Ethereum. And
And then we could promote Chainlink, because essentially Chainlink is going to be solving that problem of having all of them interact with one another.
right. So, what Chainlink, I think that's Cosmos.
Oh, okay,
Right,
that's
yeah,
Cosmos.
Yeah, Cosmos.
But Chainlink also wants to
Chainlink-
interact certain.
Right. So so there's a cryptocurrency called Cosmos, which essentially wants to do that, become like the internet of blockchains, so that you won't ever be able to tell the difference between like, you using one or a different blockchain. Everything just kind of
Like
connected
universal.
together. Right. So you're not even ever have to worry about, like, oh, I'm going to have to use like this wallet for this particular blockchain, or you're just going to have like one thing, and it's just going to interact with everything together. That's
interesting.
Yeah, that's the basic idea of it. So like right now, yeah, there's all these differences, and like, there's Bitcoin and there's Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain, and like, everybody thinks like they're competitors and everything, but the real like future of cryptocurrency and blockchain is just like everything is just one thing. It's just seamless.
Would you say it's like credit card brands? Like you have credit cards, but then you have an American Express, you have a Visa, you have a MasterCard. It's all the same shit. They're all credit cards.
Right.
But is that kind of...
That's exactly the way I think about like all the different blockchains. When people talk about them like competing with each other,
It's just like
It's
Visa
like-
versus it's the same shit, guys.
it's the same thing. Like, yeah, I mean, everybody talks about like a new crypto or blockchain that comes out, and they're calling it like the Ethereum killer. But realistically, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Ethereum's not going to die. It's just like all of these things are going to work together, and then maybe some, companies or organizations are going to pick one for their particular purpose, and maybe another, just like Visa and MasterCard, but they're all still going to, exist.
Work the same.
And even with real currency, like, paper money, it won't just disappear out of thin air. It'd still be circulating. You'll still have people.
It kind of, I mean, the way that I describe it to people, especially in 2017, people are like, what the fuck is cryptocurrency? And I'm like, look, it's the future. It's digital currency, period. Back in the days, we used to, trade spices versus gold versus my cow's milk versus, chicken eggs. We used to do trade. Then came precious metals. And it's like, hey, I'll give you this if you give me that, and rubies and stuff like that. Then later on, somebody was like, hey, I made this paper. give me your gold and I'll give you this paper. And people are like, fuck that. I'm not giving you my fucking gold for paper. It's a promissory note, because that's all the U.S. currency is, or any currency. It's a promissory note. And there's a lot of different currencies throughout the world, right? Then in the, I want to say 60s, 70s, they were like, hey, give me your paper and we'll give you a plastic card and we'll hold your money. And people are like, what the fuck are you saying? And now it's like, give me your plastic information and account number and we'll give you a digital currency that you control. And people are now kind of like, what? So it is wild, but it's just the trend, and that's just what's going to happen. It's really the future, right?
Yeah.
What are the benefits? Like we talk about the decentralized. What are the benefits of cryptocurrency versus a credit card or cash or this, that? You know, because Biden's printing all this money.
Yeah.
You know, so like what's happening?
So the way I mean, as an investment vehicle, the way I look at it is just like a protection against inflation. And that's like one of the big reasons you're seeing a lot of big names like Shark Tank,
Mark Cuban.
Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah,
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban. Kevin O'Leary.
He accepted Dogecoin for his what is it, football team, baseball team?
I think so. Yeah,
Rockets.
Like you're seeing them move into.
I don't watch sports. I don't care.
So, and then apart from that, I mean, the whole reason Bitcoin exists, the whole reason the person who created it is to like get away from all that, get away from the destabilization of government currencies, where you're relying entirely on the government to basically dictate like what that currency is worth. Because like in around the 60s and 70s is when we moved away from the gold standard. So you wouldn't be able to go and, you know, use your paper bill to redeem actual gold. Now it just became hope. That's really what.
It's just a promise now.
Yeah, that's like what
every dollar. Just so people know, every dollar spent was backed up by
something, by
gold.
But now it's $1 is just backed up by $1.
Yeah,
I guess, you know, like it's really,
it's just backed up by the government promise of it having that current value.
Exactly.
And in other countries, you don't even know. Like in Colombia, what's $1 right now? It's like 5 billion pesos. Like, what is it?
It's about right now about 3,750 pesos
That's
for $1.
Crazy. I was in Armenia and it was like 6,500 drums and stuff. Like
that's insane.
But it fluctuates, you know, and you gotta like daily, like what.
And that's what's concerning. And this is what I talked to my grandparents and my family over there about, is that it's so expensive for them to come over here with their peso because they're buying dollars, while we're seeing the dollar just lose value as time goes by. So what's going to happen to their money when they go to convert to the dollar, but the dollar is nothing? You know, it's essentially lost its value. And also to add on top, like on Bitcoin and crypto, is that it essentially gives us control. We're shifting the control from the government controlling the bank accounts, your money, what you do, how you do it, to you having full control and deciding what you want to do. If you want to deposit it into this wallet, if you want to go stake it and earn interest.
It's amazing because, I mean, anytime you travel, they ask you, how much money are you traveling with? How much cash do you have? Like, what the fuck? Like, why would I even answer that? And then if they see it, you're fucked. Yeah. You're fucked. And this, you can carry millions, if not billions of, you know, Bitcoin.
And take it everywhere.
Anywhere you want.
And also the ease of the transactions that we're going to be doing globally. Like, for example, like...
Can you get robbed?
Of course.
Can somebody be like, yo, bitch, fucking give me your Bitcoin?
Well, that's very old. That's how it used to be back then. Like, somebody come with a gun, give me your money. Now it's like people doing it on a computer and they hack you and
realistically
they take your...
Because there's like a homeless in downtown LA. He's like, I take Bitcoin, and he has a fucking QR code. Like, what the fuck? You know, Cash App. Like, oh, you know what I mean?
That's funny. I mean, like realistically, like you can almost say that kind of robbery could happen today. Like someone could just go up to you and say like, hey, log into your bank account and transfer money over to this bank account, or like Zelle me this cash, and it'll be some like some bank account they opened with a fake identity or something, and they'll just be able to cash it out immediately. Like, realistically, that could happen still.
They buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. So, yeah, you could get robbed. I mean, there have been cases in which that has happened, but you know, that's just.
Would you say, because basically what you're saying, it's rare. Would you say it's more rare to get robbed like that, and it's easier to get hacked, or would you say it's so safe that you'll pretty much get robbed before you get hacked?
Well, I think it's also just I think all of that is fairly rare. It's not impossible. I mean, because one of the ways that you can get, I guess, quote unquote, hacked is if somebody, maybe you click on a random link and then some malware gets installed on your computer or maybe on your phone, and it tracks like
not iPhone.
It tracks what you're typing, so it knows your passwords and everything. But if you were logging into your bank account and you had that malware in there, they could
shit.
Yeah, they could just go into your bank account. If you have your Bitcoin, your whatever, your crypto, and you're typing your password, they're going to be able to take it out. I guess the main difference is the fact that your money in your bank is secured. It's FDIC insured. And then your Bitcoin, if it gets stolen, I mean, you're not getting it back.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So there is that risk. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to be moving towards a world where banks are still going to play a vital role in that, where maybe you go to Chase and you're not depositing dollars, you're depositing maybe Bitcoin. And then you also have that Bitcoin insured. And then it really just falls on like whether you trust yourself to hold on to your money and have that potential risk, or you want to leave it with someone with like a bank where you could potentially be insured. And I'm sure that there's also maybe going to be a new sector where you'll have private insurance where you just pay monthly for it, and then they'll back you up if you're holding your own coins. That's just something that could potentially happen. So yeah, like there's always risks. There's risks to it, and also like
there's risks to everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really.
Yeah, but usually overall they're a lot less. I just ask because I get asked that a lot.
Yeah.
It's just based on your control of it, and we've seen, like, for example, people that have lost their code or their phrase to their wallets, and we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, and there's no way into it. So that's the catch. It's like, you know what, you own crypto, you store it, and you have full control of it. You have the full control, but you also, it goes hand in hand with the responsibility of making sure that you are the one that contains, remembers, store it in the proper place. In case something happens, you remember to have access
like
to
your
it.
safe deposit box key or something like that. I got a quick question because you've been in this since 2017. So a good buddy of mine, Guillermo, he bought a lot of Doge coin back then, but he bought it on, I think it was Utopia. I don't know if you remember that site, but Utopia was pretty big, and they went down. The site shut down, and he never was able to recover that Doge. And when it boosted now, like he would have had $400,000 or $500,000.
That's crazy.
He was losing his fucking mind.
That's insane.
But you don't know that site, or you don't know what happened to them.
I'm not too familiar with the Utopia story, but I'm definitely familiar with a lot of those. I mean, that's happened before.
So what's the deal there? They're just like whack sites. Are these like Coinbase sites or Robinhood sites, or?
Not necessarily like Coinbase or Robinhood, because they do their due diligence to make sure that they're federally regulated, and so you're safe parking your money in Coinbase. If they get hacked, I mean, exchanges have been hacked before. I think the one of the biggest exchange hacks happened. I want to say maybe somewhere around 2014. I'm really fuzzy on the date. It was a Mt. Gox exchange. $400 million of Bitcoin was stolen, and I think
out of whose account?
It was just the exchange.
Their
reserves. Yeah, and I mean,
and back then, how many Bitcoins was that? A lot of Bitcoin.
It was a lot. I can't even imagine what that's worth today.
It's 2014.
Yeah. So, and then if I'm not mistaken, like a majority of that wasn't recovered. You can try your best, work with authorities to try to get that recovered, but it's hard to get that money back. So like scams are an absolute like big thing that happened in crypto. I don't know if like maybe that particular Utopia was a scam, but it's definitely happened before where a crypto exchange will run for some good time. They'll have enough money in their reserves, and then suddenly they'll shut their doors and they'll disappear. And once you have hundreds of millions of dollars, I mean, you can disappear.
Yeah, of course. How does those scams kind of? I mean, not that you would know, but how would you set that up? They basically, Utopia was a fake wallet, and they were just people just depositing into them, Like they were doing transactions, but really keeping it in their accounts or something.
So what they do is like the thing about crypto and like one of the things that I like about it again is going back to the self custody thing where you can hold on to your coins.
Those are known as cold wallets, right?
Right. They're cold wallets or hot wallets. It just depends on how you're storing them.
But hot wallets is online.
So hot wallet is basically like it's a wallet that interacts with the internet, and you're using it to like connect to applications or maybe exchanges, whatever. A cold wallet would be a wallet that doesn't interact with the internet. It's completely shut off from everything. So it's honestly like the most secure form. It's like, taking your money and digging a hole and just throwing it in the hole and just covering it up with soil.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. And then a hot wallet is just like having it in your wallet. You go to the store and then you just take it out of your wallet and you don't. And it's easier to get stolen. But back to the exchanges. So instead of self-custody where you're holding your money, you're basically it's like a bank. You're depositing the money into a bank. And, your money is completely in their hands. So they can get hacked or they can just run away with your money because they have the money in their hands, in their reserves. Yeah. So that's really what's like a big thing that can happen.
That makes sense.
And sometimes it's hard to tell. That's the problem. And like almost anyone can just make an exchange, and it's happened before. It's happened happens almost every month. It's probably happening
every fucking day.
Exactly.
I had a friend of mine, Oscar, that he used to work the northern branch of Bank of America in Northern California. He told me banks get robbed every day. Mm-hmm. Somebody walks in, give me the fucking money, mm-hmm. and every day a bank's being robbed. 5,000, 10,000. They just don't talk about those, but it just happens, and that's. Yeah. Crow last year announced they were FDIC, insured. What does that mean? Does that mean the prepaid card, the debit card's insured, or your crypto's insured? What do you know the terms on that?
I would imagine that it's just anything that they have in possession.
So crypto, or
if it goes with the card, you also have that money in the account, right? I think you're a little more familiar.
But
with
you have
how
it
that
separate.
Works.
You have it separate. So you have your crypto, mm-hmm. you have your earn, you have your card, and it's all in the app, but it's all separate. So that's why I was just thinking about the FDIC. Does it?
But it is all still in the app. Like they're still holding on to.
I would say it just safeguards your amount of money you have in there, whether it's in crypto, whether it's in your card. I think it's just, if anything goes wrong, they're just insuring whatever money you had on there.
Which is amazing, because is there any other exchange that is FDIC?
I think a good amount of them in the U.S. are. Coinbase is, I think.
Coinbase is too?
Yeah, for sure. Coinbase has been around since, I think, 2012.
Yeah. No. I know they've been around forever, but I've never saw an FDIC approved. I know they're launching a new debit card or a new card themselves.
But that's essentially centralization, and that's kind of what defeats the purpose. So it's gonna happen. Like it's gonna be where these exchanges turn into the banks, and there's FDIC, insured and all this good stuff. But that's essentially centralization, and we're trying to shift away from that. We want the control of what we own, and then if you want to be on a centralized exchange, you're kind of going against that.
So it's just how much you trust the banks. I mean, just the other day, I had a friend whose bank account got closed, and now he's having to deal with thousands of dollars, that he doesn't have access to right now. So if you want to never have to deal with anything like that, you can hold on to your own money. And one of the really beautiful things I think about crypto, it's empowering people to just not have to rely on the traditional financial system, where if you go to a bank, you would need good credit to be approved for a loan if you want to open a business. With crypto, you could go on a decentralized application, like a website, where you'll just be able to get a loan out without any credit history or anything. And because of the way it works through the technology and the code and the smart contracts, it's all secured. Through something called staking, you can also earn passive income, and you earn interest on whatever cryptocurrencies you hold. You can do it on a riskier asset like a Bitcoin, where it's just volatile, goes up and down, or you can earn interest on
USDC or USDT,
right, which are just dollar pegged digital currencies, and those rewards go anywhere from 5%, 10% to the riskier ones like 100% a year. So it's and then anybody has access to it as long as you have a phone and an internet connection. You have access to it.
Yeah.
One of the big projects right now, Cardano, is working with a few different governments in Africa to be able to just kind of bring that technology to their people, so that the millions of people who don't have access to a bank account will now have access to these financial tools to also be able to earn some passive income or just have a bank account.
This is that announcement they did for like South America. Wasn't there like a cryptocurrency that's trying to make crypto more accessible for people in South America, and they're predicting on getting more people involved in this world economy of cryptocurrency?
There's quite a few different projects on that.
So like El Salvador, for example, they adopted it as a legal tender, and like the process is going on now. I just saw a video of a guy going to the grocery store buying some bread and milk, and he literally scanned the QR code of the girl that was working there, sent Bitcoin, paid, and he went out of his way. So like now the adoption and the real use case is happening, and then you have other countries in South America adopting it as well. And that's part of the evolution and adoption. And as more adoption we have, the price is only going to go higher, and the value is only going to increase.
What's your guys' opinion on Crow? I mean, Crow has the debit card, has the cashback rewards, has the earn, has an amazing app, has low exchange fees, has everything. It's dropping. Why would Crow not do as good as Doge?
It's just adoption. It's not as adopted as maybe it should be. For example, like my girlfriend's friend that works for Bloomberg in New York, he didn't know what the Crow, card was when he saw it on Instagram. So it's just adoption. And I think there's only like 10 million users, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm sure like Crow, like crypto.com's exchange, it's like ranked between 50 and 100. So it's up there. So it's just adoption. As more adoption comes and as more people stake their money with Crow, obviously the value is only going to increase. And I mean, I love Crow because of the card use and all that good stuff that like right now.
The Spotify reimbursement, Netflix reimbursement, the Amazon reimbursement.
Yeah. So, but that's like essentially.
It offers so much. I think it offers more than anything. That's where I have like my big thing.
No, it's a really.
It's right
card.
now, but like that's kind of just railing people in to use the platform, and it's like banks. Banks compete with one another with rates, with what they offer, with the rewards you get when you sign up and you open an account. That's kind of essentially what's happening. But what I see long term is, for example, like right now it's great because you could top off your card with a crypto and go use it. But now when crypto is accepted anywhere and everywhere, and you can just, scan a QR code and send it, then the card is not really going to be needed. You get what I'm saying? So I think...
Yeah, but you could put it on your Apple Pay and still tap your phone without doing that either.
Apple, there's rumors of them, getting into the crypto game as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's rumors of them making a card. I mean, they're who cares? They're going to do everything anyways.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you think it's just gonna get to just 5 coins or 10 coins in 20 years from now?
So. I don't think so.
There's still gonna be a lot of projects here, and that's what I go back to. Like right now, there's like 10,000 plus cryptocurrencies, and it's like companies. You have companies that are starting off. They're trying to solve a problem. Maybe they don't solve it, and then down the road they just disappear. Or for example, we have projects. Think about like Blockbuster. They were good at what they were doing in their time, and then here came Netflix, Hulu, and pretty much Blockbuster took them out. So that's kind of what's going to happen. You're going to have a project with better security, low fees. It's going to be way better, and this one's not going to be able to keep up because of maybe the creator wasn't just good enough, or the company didn't have the right backing, and they just disappear. So that's essentially goes into a strategy of the investment into crypto. Like think about the first 10, the first 20, the top 20. what, are they really going to be here long term? Like Doge is in the top, 5, 10?
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, and is it
Fucking
really going to
crazy.
be here in 10 years? That's the question. So it all depends on what type of investor you are. That's what I say. It's like depends on if you're here for the short term, long term, if you're trying to make quick cash, daily trade. But there's a misconception that you're gonna come in here, you're gonna put a $5,000 into something, you're gonna wake up the next day and you're a millionaire, and that is not gonna happen. And people have this misconception coming into crypto.
It's happened, but
It can happen.
It's not.
The chances of it happening are
very
low.
slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, a buddy of mine, he put $3,500 in December in Doge. And when it went to like 70 something, he was sitting on 500, 600,000.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's fucking insane. And he cashed out 3 times. I was like, what the fuck? Like
in January, I told my dad about Doge, and Doge was like at like 2 cents. And I had cashed out on my whole stock portfolio, and I was going to go put it in a safer investment. And I was like, now thinking back, I was like, damn, if I would have put that 10 grand into Doge at 2 cents, I would have been.
My uncle had a dig. My uncle, there's nobody fucking knows that. Yeah, my guy bought it at 0.004.
Wow.
So imagine he had, I want to say 890,000 fucking things. So that's why when it hit 70 cents, he hit fucking big, man. He hit big. And he cashed out because of like he bought a house, so he cashed out 30 grand when it was like at 80. Then he went down, he rebought, and he did this back and forth. When it was at 70 cents, I was like, bro, please fucking sell. He's like, no, $1 to the moon. Now he's like fucking down. He's like, bro, man. I mean, he still made all. He's still, it was off a $3,500 investment.
Yeah.
He cashed out 30 grand 3 times.
That's so crazy.
He cashed out 90 grand. Here's my thing. My thing is, I respect what you guys are doing, and we'll finish this off with what your main goal is of doing. Mm-hmm. But my whole thing is it's so fucking unpredictable that like a lot of like what you guys are doing, advising how to do your due diligence and be careful and be cautious and this is the future and this that that's cool. But the people that are saying Safe Moon is the shit, you want to invest in Safe Moon and doing that, it's like nobody fucking knows. Nobody knows. Right. Nobody knows. Mark Cuban would have got into Dogecoin at fucking 0.004 cents if he would have known. Everybody, but nobody fucking knows, and you need to be very careful. Is crypto going to take over? Absolutely. There's just no way it's not. We talked about governments already implementing it. Mark Cuban's using it for fucking businesses. Tesla's using it to buy cars. Like it's going to happen. I recommend, long term, put some money in there every month into a coin and go long term. You guys are going to focus on educating people.
Yeah, that's essentially, my purpose and our purpose is just educate what we know.
Which is so important.
Yeah, just pass it on. And I think this is I guess a space that's just continuously evolving and rapidly, and there's always something new every single day. Like for those that were into it in 2017, there was no staking that existed back then.
Everything was XRP and Stellar,
and
XRP
now,
and Bitcoin.
And now they're staking. There's all these things you can get loans, and all these things that are evolving as the days go by. So essentially, we just want to stay on top of it and just pretty much give the education and research to those people that don't have the time to do it. And
it's a lot.
Oh yeah, it's a huge learning curve. It's a huge learning curve, and it's constant learning.
I just learned because I was gonna do the loan. I got some money in, and I was like, fuck it. I wanted to pay off my Harley, and I was like, you know what? If I get X amount and I put it in my Crow account, they will give me up to 50% in a loan, from my what do you call it? My whatever, from the money that I have, they'll give me 50% loan at like a 2%, 3% interest rate, which is awesome. Crazy. Yeah. It's fucking awesome. That's good. But a buddy of mine said, "Be careful," and I was like, "Why?" He goes, he had a buddy that did this with Bitcoin, and there was an exchange or a card that gives you 50% of what you have. And this guy had like $500,000 or $600,000 of Bitcoin. This was like 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And they gave him 50% of the loan. Cool, low interest rate. But what happens is they, as long as you make the monthly payments and pay your loan off, you're cool. But if the market goes down and that risk to loan value reaches a certain percentage where it's not guaranteed to the bank, they can force sell your coins to recover their money, which happened to this guy. So it was force sell $250,000 worth of his coins. So he still gets to keep the balance, but when it went back up, he at 70,000, he lost that.
That's crazy.
So that's kind of why I advise people to kind of shift away from that for right now, due to the fact that since it's so young and it's still, have gaps that need to be filled, just wait it out. It all depends on the type of risk tolerance that the person has and the strategy. I always go back to strategy. What is your strategy? Think about what it is that you want to do. Are you here short, long? Do you want to lend? Do you want to borrow? Like, think about what your strategy, stake. It all boils down to what type of strategy you want to have. Yeah. And that's the first question that I ask when somebody's like, oh, you're into crypto. Okay, what is your strategy? What do you want to do? And then I go into advising the person, what's the right direction to go down.
Are you guys going to do one-on-ones? Are you guys going to do this in groups? And then how do people get a hold of you? And where do they find you? And do you guys have
Well, we're just starting off with a lot of this stuff. We do have some ideas in the pipeline for what we want to do. Right now, it's generally group stuff. Like we're doing the lives where we just talk about different topics. We also have a YouTube channel going. We just started our Instagram, so we're just really like
where can we
ground
find you
floor
guys?
right now.
So personal Instagram account, you can go to Sahid Abdala 22, Sahid Abdala 22, and then on there in my link you'll have the link of our Instagram account. You can go in there. You could also DM me if you want to join the group. I'll send you the link of the Telegram chat. And then we also have our it's blockx.group on Instagram, blockx.group on YouTube.
Block Block the letter X.
Yes, sir.
That's a cool name.
Block Explorers.
Explorers.
Dora the Explorer. Block Explorers.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. I like it. Are you guys going to do cool logo shirts and hats and gears and shit?
Hopefully our members contribute and maybe we could get some gear on the way.
Do you guys have a Patreon you want to promote?
That's something in the pipeline.
Okay.
That's definitely something we have in the
pipeline. Yeah, we're early stages. We're still building the community, the group. Like I said, we just getting our social media platforms going. So that there's a lot that we still have to implement and have consistency with before, we start telling people, hey, go to our Patreon. We're going to charge. Like, I want to make sure that we have
Patreon's some. We're going to charge. It's just if you want to support the channel.
Yeah, exactly.
This equipment costs money.
Yeah, exactly.
But right now our focus is just pretty much guide the group that we have. We're going to continue having our Zoom calls and conferences. And we're going to upload those to YouTube as well. So in case anybody was unable to join on the live conference on Zoom, they could go to YouTube and watch it. And we're practicing our first, Zoom conference call was on Sunday. It went longer than usual. We kind of did things and, we're learning. We're learning as we go.
Curve.
Yep.
I'm going to say I'm really excited for you guys because it's just fucking amazing. Most people your age are like picking their nose, drinking. They don't give a fuck. And this is such a hot. Anything in the digital space is so fucking hot.
Yeah, absolutely.
That I see a lot of potential, and I know you guys are gonna kick ass. And I want to be the first person to interview you guys when you have your $1 million. On your yacht.
And also we want to thank you.
I mean it.
So. We want to thank you for giving us the 100%. Platform, reaching out to a different community, and essentially the
it's
more
not a
people.
Different community. It's the same community. It's
motorcycle community.
Yeah.
So we're tapping into that, and honestly, as more people understand, as more people adopt, as the adoption rate goes up, the value is only going to increase.
It's really for anyone.
It's for anyone, yeah. And essentially, it's going to be like the internet, like you didn't understand it at first, you didn't want to adapt to it, and now you have no choice but to use it. And that's what's going to happen with crypto. Right now, you may not understand, you may not know what to do or how to do it, but in 10 years, you're not going to have a choice but to go and pay somewhere with cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Okay, one more thing I want to try, so we have it recorded, predictions. What do you predict? What do you predict in 5 to 10? Predict. What do you guys predict? Huh? Who are your favorite?
I'll let you go first. I'll let you go first.
What's your favorite coin? What do you predict? What do you think is going to happen to the market? And what's the time limit?
So, well, I just want to plug myself real quick because I didn't have a chance there. But it was
More
if anyone wants to follow
importantly,
me on Instagram, it's xbt.ale, A-L-E. So anyway, price predictions. So Bitcoin always has its cycles, and you know, from the past to now, where we are right now, historically, it is just the bottom, and it's really, I personally feel like it's only up from here. So if I were to predict Bitcoin going anywhere, at the very minimum, it's gonna hit 100,000 by the end of the year. And I'm also not typically someone for predictions, but I truly believe that Bitcoin is going to hit 100,000 by the end of the year.
What's it at right now?
And
33.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
What's the date? June
6.
June 25th.
June 25th. It's 3:02 p.m.
Okay.
So, yeah, and
so 100 grand end of the year.
100 grand before the year ends, I think, and I think it might potentially even go higher, just because of the amount of money that's being poured into the market, especially by big players. We could potentially see it go, maybe do a little over 100,000, but it could potentially even get closer to 200,000. But that's stretching it. But at the very least, 100,000. Ethereum, I personally think anywhere between 5 to 10,000 before the year ends.
That's huge.
Yeah.
What do you think? Any shit coins or magic coins? If you gamble, your blackjack one.
I do have one. I talk about shit coins and I hate them and everything, but you gotta have some fun.
You have Safe Moon, don't you?
No, I don't have Safe Moon. I don't have Safe Moon.
I'm kidding.
I did have some Doge a little while back.
We all
when Elon Musk was going on the.
We all fell for that trap. And we lost. I already know.
No, I won.
Oh, you won. I lost.
See, it's also it's just also like it's experience with it and like knowing like when to pull out. During the SNL skit is like. I sold before, but I made some money off of there. I have there's this one cryptocurrency called Nano, and
I've heard Nano.
Yeah, and that's amazing tech. And then there's like a cryptocurrency that was just like copied off of it. It's called Banano. That's my little play.
Banana.
My little meme play.
That's your little Shiba to
yeah,
Doge.
like $100 in there or something. Just see where it goes.
Nice. Sahid?
All right. Well,
predictions?
Well, Bitcoin, obviously, I definitely see it hitting 100,000 by the end of the year. That's for sure. We're still on track. We're still on track. I always say Bitcoin's has increased 200% in the last 10 years. We're still on track to hit 100,000 by the end of the year. And I think a lot of people focus on the micro perspective of it. They see how it went from 64 to 34, but they forget about the increase that it has over the year. So I definitely see it hitting 100,000 conservatively. And then I have to say Algorand price prediction. Love the project. It's only at about $2 billion market cap. If we can move to $10-15 billion, which is not hard to do considering this project, I could see Algorand, going to $10-15, and it's currently at like 80 something cents. And it's stakeable. So you buy $1,000. It's staked, you're earning passive income, and then you're also, going to see the price move up and appreciate as more adoption. And also because I see it firsthand here in Miami, the project being adopted by the mayor and so many great things going on with the project. So that helps also.
Mayor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That guy's a big Bitcoin nut.
I heard.
Also, shout out to American Airlines Arena for changing their name to FTX. I think that was huge.
FTX is an exchange run by Sam Bankman-Fried, one of a crazy trader. So they're doing big things.
I think they have that contract. They named an arena.
I think they have that for like
this is
the
how
next
big this is, guys.
20 years or so. They have that name.
That's
and also, like I said, it's all adoption, and like we're seeing it firsthand. Club 11, biggest club in the world. Everybody knows it. They accept Bitcoin as a form of payment. They just built a massive, beautiful hotel and residence. They sold one of the residents for $22 million, was paid in Bitcoin. So we're seeing it firsthand, the adoption, and the owner of 11, Mark Roberts, smart guy, huge, and he's all for it. He is all for it.
That's fucking awesome. What
if I have-
shitcoin are you investing in?
Well, I have Shiba. I'll be honest.
Shiba?
Just because my dad owns it and has it, so I decided to jump on the train. I don't have hopes for that, but I mean, if it hits $1, which it will never happen, I'll be a millionaire. But there'll be the day where I create my own shitcoin and I'll promote it.
That's fucking awesome.
You know what? And I'm just gonna throw this out there,
Please.
just for the fuck of it. Dogecoin to $1.
Dogecoin to $1?
I don't like Dogecoin. I don't put my money into it. But the way it's going, I think it could have doubled.
Wow, that threw me off so much.
I know, right?
That just threw me
It's
off.
like we're like going against completely everything we just spoke about for the last hour.
But I mean, it's
yeah.
it's very possible.
Yeah, yeah.
The way it's been going, Dogecoin hitting
It's
$1.
hot.
I
It's
still
hot.
wouldn't recommend anybody putting their money into it. But if it hits $1, I mean, it's very possible.
I'm gonna give a prediction, but I just want one more prediction or one more assumption.
I also
from you
want to
guys.
hear what you got.
Yeah, for sure. How many people? We're just guessing, but how many people do you think are investing in crypto right now, percentage-wise? Would you say it's 1%, 2%, 5%? And let me give you a fun fact: the United States only represents 3% of the world's population.
Right.
So, how many people do you think are adopting crypto as of right now?
That's a hard figure to get because I actually haven't.
Yeah, but just your guess.
I mean, in the U.S. alone, I think it's somewhere somewhere between 20 and 30% of Americans are throwing their money into crypto.
That's
if
interesting.
I'm not mistaken.
That's high.
So going off of that population we have compared to the rest of the world, and like also like different countries. I mean, I would have to say for the entire world, I mean, I'd have to say maybe somewhere between like 20, like around 20%.
20% of the world. United States is 3% of the world.
It's 3% of the world.
United States is 3% of the world. So that means
thinking-
if 20% of the United States has it, that's like 0.0.
And that's involved in any kind of cryptocurrency, because I mean, I'm also thinking about countries like Venezuela. Well, 20% definitely a little bit of an overshot, but
yeah.
In Venezuela, for example, they're having like huge adoption because their currency isn't worth anything.
Yeah.
And you're also looking at China, where the Chinese government themselves are trying to are working on, or I think they already have it out, a digital yuan, which is their currency. So I imagine that in some way, shape, or form, a good majority of people in like a lot of countries are involving themselves in crypto.
Yeah,
but it's a hard number to
I know
to
it's
come
wild.
together. Yeah,
I know it's wild. Percentage, just throw out a number.
I'm not gonna say percentage, but I will read a fact, and is that Bitcoin has the same users as the internet did in 1997, which is 130 million users.
right.
Fuck, but we didn't have that many people. But that's a good fact.
Yeah.
That's a good fact. I predict Bitcoin by the end of the year is probably going to go. It's going to stay around 60, 70,000.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that, I think, trends repeat. And I think this is a boost up like in 2017, but then 2017 crashed. I think we boosted up, but I think it's going to come back down, and it's going to be higher than obviously 2017. Right. It's much better, but I don't think, I know everybody was predicting 100,000 end of the year, but I think if it was my guess, I think we'll stay solid between 60 and 70, and it will grow over time.
Bearish, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that, and
That's
unfortunately,
bearish, and that's doubling what it's at right now.
And that's double what it is right now, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I like SafeMoon. I like what they're doing. That's my shit coin to like, fuck it, SafeMoon. And Crow, just the card benefits. The 3% cash back. They're paying my Netflix. They're paying my Spotify. They're paying my Amazon. Like it's just a no-brainer.
That's cool.
Like, so those are my things.
Solid one for sure.
All right. I also want to give a shout out to Ride Clean.
What's that?
I'm a user. It's great. I clean my bike and my car with. I'm just waiting for them to accept Bitcoin so I can buy some more.
I'll talk to the owner. Maybe we'll start taking my Thank you, guys. I appreciate this.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for
having
us, man. This is awesome. This is great. This is huge for us. This is huge.
Yeah,
we love talking about this. So this is great.
Yeah,
it's been great.
And I look forward to seeing your guys' YouTube channel and make sure you do it, man. The consistency. I'm excited. This is episode 51 for me, so it's a big deal. It's been a long journey.
Wow.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. This has been awesome.